Hello, good morning. Welcome to Daily News Commentary. So we are nearing the last days of November 26th. Let's look into the news. So we have to know about what is EWS quota. It's a new set of reservations. So please to understand that. What is the basis of it and all those things, not the details or rather the parameters of that. That's not required. The constitutional amendment we can remember and the rationale behind it. So right, rationale can be just memorized. It's an old thing anyhow. It's just a routine news, but just try to remember what all these things are and bring it in context of polity. Reservations in totality. The study is arguing for 3 rate of GST structure. Right. So this brings to us like a couple of ideas. Issues with GST now. Issues with GST, the present GST. There are several issues. So please look into what are the issues of GST. Like tax structure could be one thing. The federal relations matters could be another thing. So yeah, look into what are the issues with GST and the current GST rate structure that can be remembered. Right, and then you don't have to be an economist with regard to GST. Just understand the basic things. And full details some karnideyum kuഴപ്പമില്ല. MNRAGS. What is MNRAGS? If you haven't already know these things by now, like you guys will be mostly covered that, so no trouble there. Just refresh your memory with respect to MNRAGS. Then okay, the most important article in these days is about National Family Health Survey 5 and the finding thereof. So we have one is measuring the progress that is achieved between NFHS 4 and NFHS 5. So read the different dimensions. It gives you a brief, but then you may have to also read NFHS in detail. So there would be an article in the next page. Also articles will be coming up in the coming days, so we can focus on that. So for now, just read some of the most important one are like fertility rate, we know, and some of the new parameters that is introduced by the 5th NFHS. Okay, so that read through that. So Mukul Sanwal was India's climate negotiator at UNFCCC. So in this context, this is mostly an article written from the Indian negotiations perspective. Brings in several arguments of the responsibility shouldered by the developed world and which they ought to be shared, and the hypocrisy here and therein. So it can be an article not much for GS content but for essay. Some of the argument he brings in, like carbon colonialism and how the developed world has pushed responsibility to the developing world, and some of the measures to take. This measures to take part would be nice. First, consumption pattern needs to be shifted away from resource and carbon intensive. Equally important will be the achieving more equal distribution of wealth with minimum level of prosperity. So all these are good. You can read that. Some of the points in the later part will also be helpful for GS. So go through that. See, the crypto asset boom. Crypto is becoming a major news now, so we can expect question. But ഒരു ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ പോയിന്റ് ഓഫ് വ്യൂ ഇന്ന് ക്രിപ്റ്റോ ഒരു നല്ല ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ്മെൻറ്റ് മെക്കാനിസം ആണോ അങ്ങനെയല്ലോ എന്നുള്ള ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ വരാനുള്ള ചാൻസസ് ആർ ലെസ് ആൻഡ് വെരി ലെസ്. സോ വി ആർ കൺസേൺ വിത്ത് വാട്ട് ഈസ് ക്രിപ്റ്റോ, ഇറ്റ്സ് യൂട്ടിലിറ്റീസ്, ഇറ്റ്സ് ത്രെറ്റ് പോസ്ഡ് ബൈ ഓക്കെ ലെറ്റ്സ് റൈറ്റ് ദാറ്റ്. വാട്ട് ഈസ് ഇറ്റ്, ഇറ്റ്സ് പൊട്ടൻഷ്യൽ, വൈ popular, so why popular, and issues thereof, government measures. So this is still an evolving one, so till government measures we can have a study which will almost remain static, and then we can add the current affairs as and when it comes in. So the Andhra capital questions, not very important from mains of prelims perspective, just get a sense of what the issue is. Again, NFHS, go through that. In Venezuela, what is it? Prelims perspective. It's a submarine, Scorpion class submarine. Similarly, you have to remember what is Navy's Project 75 for prelims. All these are for prelims. So I'm sure like you will be able to identify like it is for prelims, it is for mains, just by looking at the article. Now that was our intention behind doing news commentary, right? See, go through the details again. For this, you can basically rely on any briefing. So we'll try to provide one in our smart work group. Similarly, you can also refer to websites. So if you are reading article by article, eventually it will become a burden. So instead, you can look at one particular source where it is comprehensively covered and make note of that. Not out of that. That would be the better strategy. In India faces rising bilateral issues at SCO. What is SCO? You have to understand that. So since it is an organization that is very near to us and is important, you have to basically look at what scope or potential of SCO's initiatives and the work done by SCO. Similarly, issues, and you can also mention how to navigate, how to make SCO beneficial to India. SCO is like inherently contradictory at the body, because it's a body that is dominated by China, and then Pakistan is there. So India joined lately, 1 year, 2 years back. So we have to see how effectively we can manage it. Better connectivity with Bangladesh. What is better connectivity Bangladesh mean to India? Significance, what is significance? Since just the ministry is mentioning about that. With respect to Northeast, right? Connectivity with Bangladesh, we are more concerned about connectivity with Northeast than with having Bangladesh. So that has been issue. We have been negotiating for railway lines, road to travel from Bengal to Northeast, passing via Bangladesh for a while now. Some initiatives are happening, like Agartala Akahura railway link. So that is there. Please look into that. Now, where is Solomon Islands located? Just understand, because there is an unrest. You have to try to identify Solomon Islands. It's in the Oceania region. So look into that. What is OPEC plus, and about the move to bring down prices, we have seen that. What is OPEC plus? Usually we see OPEC, right? So try to understand what is OPEC plus. The cryptocurrency is back again. Please read that. But again, as I'm just reminding you, it's an evolving thing. So we'll see more as we go on. Democratic blacksiding of India. So this is a report published by some body. No, I don't know like what is this body. Haven't heard of it much. So we take everything very seriously. But then there is an issue of democratic blacksiding. So that might be the fact that behind we are going after every survey. So the idea what we have to serve is that the challenges faced by Indian democracy. Challenges is for sure is there. Some of the issues like criminalization of politics, which is we are to see in the next page, corruption, etc., are in fact a challenge. Criminalization is in fact a challenge to Indian democracy. Please look into that. Owning up to criminalization of politics. This article is an average one. We cannot make a note solely based on this. So criminalization of politics, we have to. I'm not saying what, but then what and how much. That is a fact you have to bring in. Some of the study by ADR or something you can bring in. And then why criminalization of politics, impact of criminalization of politics, and solutions. In between you can take measures taken. Okay, let's in solutions we can already mention of measures taken. Their effectivity could be analyzed, and then you can look at way forward. This much things can be done about criminalization of politics. Alright, that's it for today. So a couple of topics to be studied, 1 or 2 topics you can study today. All the best.